Hello, 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 my beautiful people. It's your girl DJ coming to you live with another awesome artist interview. Today, I have a special guest for the beautiful month of National Poetry Month. Is Mr. Ross himself in the flesh. How are you doing today?
Peace, DJ. Thanks for having me. Congratulations to you and the awesome series of interviews that you've been doing with artists. Many of them are colleagues and even I would even say family members of mine. And so I
Yes.
feel like in a way I'm a bit at home. I know that we've crossed paths a couple of times before, yet this is our first official time, and everything happens the way it's supposed to. And so I'm happy to be opening National Poetry Month, April, with our interview here.
Yes, I'm so honored. I'm so grateful. Definitely number one, just shout out to every single person who really actually was like, "Yo, you got to do Rise." That was James Elderby. That was Amira Bala. That was well, definitely like Treasure herself. I mean, it was a lot of people. Even Daya, which you got her awesome piece
Yep.
right in the back. And shout out to Dave for doing that awesome cover for your latest book, which we're gonna like go and dive into pretty soon.
That's
But
what's up.
it's just so amazing how like once again my platform and even your platform has made us cross past everything. Let me tell the peeps how I got to actually meet you for the very first time. So you guys, when I was at Raritan Valley Community College in my last year, I did an internship in Above Art Studios in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And they would have paint and sips, poetry nights. I mean, practically a lot of beautiful people of color performing or showcasing their artistry. And one night when I was recording as a videographer, I got to witness and actually experience the Raz himself performing multiple just great pieces, and not just only his pieces, but a collective with others from Sean Battles down to Positive, and even Eric. Yeah, I can't think of his last name, but Eric, he's like really awesome. You would practically remember even more of that night because it was a powerful night. I mean, how could anybody forget that night?
Yeah.
Like a huge set in stone moment. But overall, it was just so funny because that was my first interaction with you. Got to see your work, got to see your art, and then I followed you right off of your Instagram, and then I got to see even more of you prosper and grow. And what gets even crazier is that, like, as I'm doing my own works, away from you, I'm still getting some form of connection through you by either the people you did projects with or I've seen of, because like you did that project with James Elderby in his album,
Mm-hmm.
No Haiku, which was like a crazy blast. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta some way, in some form, get connected to Roz. And we finally made it to this day.
There we go. And shout out to Above Art Studios,
Yes.
my brothers Bars and Tox. Shout out to
100.
James C. Ellerby, No Haikus, Uninvited, my man. I Am I Mega.
Yes.
That was a great track, a fun track. I was listening to it myself a couple of days ago because it's just that hot, And so I think we've all been fortunate and blessed to really just be around some cool, creative energy and really build
Yeah.
camaraderie amongst ourselves. Those of us that have been able to do that, are through art and artistry. So I'm delighted that we had that exchange and that it involves so many other cool people.
Yeah, because it's just amazing. It's one thing, you never know who you will be seen by. You never know who is actually still watching. And I can admit I was one of the people was just still watching and wanting to know more. It was just waiting for that moment. And that's the beauty of the chemistry and the art of networking, is that this is a huge teacher moment, you guys. Sometimes you just got to wait for that actual moment and that gap. Not everything's gonna happen immediate and quick. Once again, me and Roz, I knew him because I was just really one of the audience, just keeping and going and just keeping an eye on this guy. Like, nah, I gotta keep him here. But someday I'm gonna finally get him, and I got my dream to
There
come
we
true.
go. There we go. There we go. Everything works out. At least most things, I believe, for the most part, always work out the way they're supposed to work out. You know.
Exactly. And now, my question to you. I know I can say the most greatest things of all, but I think everybody wants to know, who the heck are you?
Okay. Okay. Nice. So I am Ras Heru, Newark, New Jersey, born, raised, and currently living. I am an elementary school teacher, and when I'm not in class with my fifth graders, I am an artist, performer, advocate, executive producer. I do, as you know, and I'm sure we'll talk about, I do a number of things as it relates to creativity. Obviously, I'm an author, poet, and performer. I'm also CEO and co-founder of Rebel Inc. Publishing, and I'm also executive producer of Rhythm and Words Creative Writing, which is this really cool, multi-dimensional writing facilitation event and performance event that I've been doing for about 2 or 3 years. And so my hands are in a number of things as it relates to creativity and artistry. But primarily, first and foremost, I am indeed a writer, author, performer.
There we go. And so, pretty much, what made you, before we had all of these awesome artistry, what made you start and say, I need to start putting my voice onto paper and really elaborate? What was your beginning before you found Roz? What was that?
That's a great question. So I've probably been writing since like 5 or 6 years old. And it started from just wanting to mimic the voices that I was listening to, right? So 5, 6, 7, I've been a diehard sort of disciple of Tupac Shakur. And so from 5, 6, 7, I was always blasting Pac. I was listening to him during some rather hectic, really test-worthy moments in life. And then sooner or later, I wanted to begin sort of mimicking the actions of those who inspired me, individuals like him. And so I was writing on and off for years, as long as I can remember. And then I had a moment in high school. Where it was really sort of a defining moment, and I can talk more about it if you like. But I had this defining moment during my 10th grade year where I sort of had this like epiphanal moment where I was like, you know what? This is what I want the world to know me for and as. And then after that moment, I guess like 15, 16, I've known that not only is writing something that I was decent at, that provided me comfort, but I realized it was something that I wanted to tag my life onto.
Wow. And I guess it's, from what I'm hearing, is that it was more so a journey. It was more so of a legacy. It was more so a form of just really having a creative outlet for you, especially from where you're talking about, from being a 5-year-old to being a high schooler, and even currently now, there was transitions that has influenced your writing, of growth, and even not just that, but kind of a form of, its own puberty stage.
I like that. Yeah.
Its own puberty stage. When we do any form of art, you gotta have that one moment. It's like, I wrote that, I did that. Because trust me, I got all that type of work in my back, and I'm like, I did that. That don't look nice, but you get inspired by your past self too. And I noticed that you do have this form of talking through your poetry to this type of individual. Is it more so like you kind of find it's like a mirror effect, as if you have the audience look at themselves, or just even better, look at your poetry as a way of looking at themselves? I kind of get that vibe. Even when you speak it, I see myself in your words. It's like this a mirror effect. Like what happens to me also reflects right off of you. And I love that you set that type of tone and that air, and it's just so rejuvenating. Like, what made you want to have that type of artistry and creativity in that style of writing? Because I don't really see that in any other type of poet.
Thank you. So I think one, that what you sort of outlined about being particular and speaking specifically to your own life with your art while still simultaneously painting this portrait with words that is universally relatable. I think
Yes.
that's the mark of potent artistry, when you are, whether you're looking at a painting, listening to a poem, listening to a song or whatever, you simultaneously are experiencing the specific life of the creator, right? And hearing the specific thoughts and world of the creator, but at the creator of the piece, but you're also at the same time getting this universal mirroring sort of dynamic that's happening. And so I think that is just the mark of potent artistry, where you feel like you can hear very specifically and feel very specifically that the artist has gone through something very unique to that person to create that experience, but at the same time you can still see yourself in that experience. And so I think that's the mark of anyone trying to create potent artistry. And I think I'm fortunate enough that my work has made people feel like I'm doing that, such as yourself. So I'm thankful to hear that.
Yeah, it's really just, it's marvelous, and it's really just, I can't say nothing but else, just genius, because like the way that you find the time and find the beat and find the rhythm, as well as find the right message to convey in any of the topics, down from the activism or down to empowerment, or even just to bring awareness of topics of any sort. I just get that type of vibe. You just sit me down and just let me see, see through it from a whole different perspective. And I wanted to understand too, like, what inspires you and motivates you to write on any, just in general, of any particular level or theme or such?
I personally really believe that my artistry, and anyone else who's an artist might feel the same way, but I feel like my art is my highest form of communication. I think I am my most honest, most potent, most vulnerable, and most powerful via my artwork. Through my poetry, I lay things out that is difficult for me to talk about if I'm not writing it in a poem, right? And so the ongoing motivation is just funneling your emotions through an effective channel that can produce something positive, right? We have experiences every day that we hope that we are able to grow from, and even more so, that we hope others can find growth in once we've shared it with them. And so my motivation is always being able to communicate my highest truth, being able to talk about and communicate feelings, observations, experiences in a way that can be more than just a dumping of my feelings, right? Something that's more than just I have this on me and I'm getting it out, but I have this on me and I'm creating something with it that can be inspiring to both myself and others. So from a long standpoint, that's the motivation. But then on a smaller sort of day-to-day level, the motivation is the everyday world. The motivation is whatever triggers or moves you to live in that space that you feel like you were born to live in. And to some extent or another, I do feel like what I do as an artist and as an educator, because I see both of what I do as an artist and educator as two sides of the same coin. I really believe that this is my vocation. I believe that I'm in the lane that I was put on this earth to be in. And when you believe that, I don't think that you really need too much external motivation. When you believe that you are doing the work that you were put on this planet to do, and you genuinely believe that, you don't need too much inspiration or motivation outside of that. And I really do believe that this is the work I was put here to do.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree, because your energy like picks up so just rapidly and beautiful. I mean, you show your message not just in your work, but just through your lifestyle.
Right.
Because even like I really do want to talk about the piece right behind you, because it's two artists in one piece.
Yep.
Sandra Bullock piece that you guys are looking right at behind.
I know right here. Yep.
Yeah, here you go. I know you guys can't see exactly every single word, but this is what's mind blowing. You did a poem that actually every single one of those words is in your latest new book, the
Yep.
Rubicon. And the person who painted and did the piece of the cover did her own separate art piece, did that exact painting, and then used the words to incorporate from your poem and just practically combine both of the arts together. And I lost it when you told me that those were your words, and I said, what? Now this is even more mind blowing. And how does it feel that your words not only can impact beings and others just to learn about to change, but also it changes people and challenges people to even use their art to speak in the same level that you speak? I mean, that has to make you feel like I'm really teaching a whole nother level than 5th grade right now. How was that?
So one shout out to the fantastic, dynamic, ever life-changing Miss Diana Pollard. Not only is she an amazing artist, an amazing individual, she's also the illustrator, as you mentioned, the principal illustrator of the Rubicon, my second collection of poetry. And I'm incredibly proud of this piece. So like you said, Diana was inspired by one life and Black women, and obviously the freedom fighter and ancestor and the sister Sandra Bland. And there's a poem in my book in the Rubicon entitled "This Poem is Important," and it is a tribute and dedication to Black women. And so Diana, inspired by all the things I just mentioned, and then inspired, by the book, decided to create this piece and use text from the poem around it. And I mean, I absolutely love it. It's technically her work, but I'm so proud of it. I had to snatch it and hold on to it at least until the world comes in contact with it, with however that's going to happen. But for the meantime, it's storage space. It's right here behind me. But I absolutely love the piece. It's worth mentioning she also did the piece to the just right of it, of me here.
That's right too.
That's modeled in the style of Emory Douglas, who was an artist and also formerly a Panther, and he created artwork for the Panthers using the same sort of style that you see here. And so I'm inspired to know that other artists, particularly other artists of such creative and social potential, find artistry in what I do. And when I see works like the Sandra Bland piece, it's just inspiring to continue to do what I do, because it obviously is meaning something, not just to the general public, but additionally to other folks and other artists who are trying to convey the same message with their artistry that I am in mine. And so if someone who is trying to push social progress and fight against oppressive forces through artistry finds my artistry as a tool in their fight, then I've done everything that I can ask of myself.
You really did. Seriously, you already done it. Your job is done.
Thank you. So, the piece is open and available to the public, but in the meantime, though, it's chilling out with Ras Heru.
I can't blame you. I can't blame you. It's just the way. It's just so admiring, because it's like that's not just one. I bet you there are many, many others who really see you as a perfect tool to sharpen themselves, to say, all right, I see this light. Now I want to go and roll. And I'm seeing that with multiple people who connect with you. Definitely, once again, it's just mind-blowing how much wisdom that you have and you prosper to others. And it helps, artists like us to really be like, wow, I never really thought about that. And I love that you are so open and so willing to communicate. And definitely congratulations on your success. I saw you got into one of your poems was also hanging in the park, I believe, not too long ago. And you got to pretty much educate people and speak to the people about why you chose that particular piece as well. And it's not, yeah. Go ahead.
I was fortunate enough, just to give some detail behind that. I was fortunate enough to have a poem of mine accepted into a town poetry exhibit here in Maplewood, and so a poem of mine, a really beloved poem of mine called "How Doves Come to Tears." It is a thinly veiled commentary on the plight of Black people in America, and it was selected into the town poetry exhibit. And so if you go into town, you'll see about 30 some odd poems scattered across the town, and mine is one of them. I actually received some good news yesterday. Atlantic City is doing a similar sort of poetry outside exhibit, and another piece of mine has been submitted and accepted in Atlantic City for an exhibit there. Thank you.
That is huge.
And so
I'm excited. One park, he had two of y'all parks. Go ahead, he taking over Jersey. Forget y'all.
Listen. That between you, myself, and everybody else watching, I guess it's not really a joke or a secret, but that's really the goal. That's really the goal.
Huge. Congrats on that. That is really huge.
Thank you.
That is so phenomenal. You really are the true meaning of putting your poems into life. Because seriously, it's just that if that really shows you how powerful your words really are. And let me take a little good moment to showcase your Instagram, because this is no joke. You guys y'all really gotta follow my man, because now that he mentioned that he's gonna be at another awesome part, come on, you guys, definitely follow my guy right here on Instagram. And as you can see, I have it highlighted over here, his actual website, where you can actually, get his books, get more connected to, his activism. And I mean, pretty much he'll just update you and, pretty much just teach you right off the spot some new flavors. Let me show them people too, the website real quick too. Just it real quick. But I really, really want to show you guys more so his website, because one, I'm jelly, and two, I'm kind of jealous because it's kind of fire.
You said one and two, I'm kind of jelly. That's funny.
That means I'm double jelly. I mean, it's a really, really fire, just website itself. It's so cool. Once again, this is his latest new book. It was 2020, correct, that you published a book?
Correct.
All right. Yeah. So 2020, you recently published a book. This is the artwork of Miss Day as well. Shout out to her again. Yeah, definitely. If you guys want to hit him up, here's his website. Pretty much it shows the books as well too that you have recently published out. It's so cool. It's so beautiful too.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. And but this is not your first book. This was your second book. What was I see the name. I don't know why I can't think of the name. But correct me. What was the first book's name? I totally forgot. I don't know.
It's you were actually just on it. It's called The Book of Heru, A Poet's Portrait. So that one right there with the cover that looks like me, right? The Book of Heru, A Poet's Portrait, was my first, and it is the first. It was the launching project for Rebel Inc. And so that was published in July of 2018.
There we go. Nice. So if anything, come right here on his awesome website, and you get to check out a little bit more. Oh, look at him. He knew he was fly for this picture. I
didn't. I didn't know that picture was going to be as dope as it was going to be. I'm happy about it.
Look, he just laughed for the moment. I'm joking with you. No, definitely. It's just really so cool to just see the growth and the I mean, like I said, like just the first interaction I met with you, that was like 2000, practically 2019.
Yeah.
And then now we're 2021, and I'm like, yo, this guy is really out here, really making it even hard out here.
Thank you. I hope so. I hope, I do hope so. Right. You know, we as people, as progressives, and particularly as artists, we can't be stagnant. You know what I mean? If we aren't pushing to evolve our artistry, then we end up falling by the wayside of history. Right. I hope, I think it is my charge, and I hope we all feel like it's our charge to continuously set the bar. Right. To set the bar, to kind of throw down the gauntlet and keep yourself and also your contemporaries on their toes, to continue to produce and be them best selves at all times. And so I hope with my work, I'm continuing to apply that pressure.
Fire. Trust me, it's fire. It's flames, fire, and a lot of that pressure going.
I hope so. I really do.
So now I know you have an awesome piece that you're going to definitely bless us with. Sure. Not only from this month, but every single freaking month that you do, man. You just kill it, man. You just freaking kill it. So definitely, please share us your piece that you're going to be sharing with us today.
So I have a piece or two here, depending on the time we have. I'm fine with either one. But this first poem, both these poems are sort of like singles, if you will, to the book. I sort of look at books the way you would sort of look at albums, the way I look at my publishing company, the way you would look at like a record company a bit. And so with that sort of analogy, this poem is called A Cautionary Tale About Stones. And it's one of my favorite pieces. I'm gonna read it out the book. Here we go.
Gotcha.
I am the stone that should forever be refused. I'm the fiasco fabricated, attempting to take shape behind the facade of pretty poems. I am the pretty that is poison. I am the cautionary tale told about poets. I am the shine that will blind you. Please take caution. Take care is all I have to spare you, is the allure of things, a charm of the sirens, a price tag that you will ultimately wish that you could not afford, a perfume that will never amount to more than the stench of bad memories. I am the morning. MORUNING. I am the morning after the party. Something like what is left behind from destructive combinations of ill intentions and wrong decisions. I am ambition unhinged. I am the binge that does not sleep. I am a crude apology forever unable to weep. I am a coming storm sick of its own forecast, a lasting trauma with a talent for leaving impressions upon the life you used to know. I wasn't asked for and I know it. Great republics have fallen because of me. Families have been introduced to carnage because of my sword's thirst for glory, a story told for thousands of years that still ends in the same bloody mess. Blessed and obsessed with the power to rearrange your calendar, I can assure you your days are numbered should you decide not to heed my warnings. I'm worn out. My eyes have swallowed more than bones can carry. My liver can tell you stories that my leaders would shame. My name has been many things across the years, though it has never really mattered. They say all is fair in love and war. But what they always fail to tell you is that semantics is all that ever really separates the two. What they always fail to tell you is that there's no matter amongst mortals that can't be summarized as an act of one or an act of the other. What they always fail to tell you is that all that decides which is where you are standing when the sword is unsheathed. What they always fail to tell you is that what you love will break you. They always fail to tell you is that there are no winners in war. All that's left from the siege are the dead and the traumatized, the dead and the traumatized, the dead and the traumatized, the dead and the traumatized. I tell you, I am the stone. Ask Goliath about my damage. Ask Debo what a brick can do. Ask them both how dirt tastes. Ask them both if the sleep is any more peaceful after the fall. Ask yourself if you are really, really ready to cast the die and risk it all on a stone already warning you to never entrust it with your dreams. Never build your sand castles upon me, because when the battle lines have been broken and the sunrise has come to greet the earth at dawn, all that will be left are the dead and the traumatized, the dead and the traumatized, the dead and the traumatized, the dead and the traumatized. Cautionary tale about stones. Thank you. Thank you. I love that piece. I really do. Thank you.
I really do. I really, really love it. I just love it. That one is really, really just like the whole.
Yeah.
Almost as if we became like, Medusa.
Hmm. I like that. Say more. I like that. I like
That's
that.
that's how I envisioned it.
Hmm.
That's how I envisioned it. When you gave us that topic, I automatically just thought of, especially when you said it in stone.
Hmm.
And the first image I'm getting is Medusa. And you know how the moment you look at her eyes, it's literally the dead and the traumatized. And that's what I got instantly. I'm like, dang.
Thank you.
You really, really set that tone.
Thank
So
you.
you gotta definitely tell me what got you to the process, and like what was the impact before and what made you say, okay, I gotta write something about this. What triggered you to say this needs to be heard? What
Great
was
question. So in order to answer that, I kind of have to talk about the body of work as a whole. And
Mhm.
so the Rubicon is a phrase taken from ancient Rome in the life and story of Julius Caesar. So in this collection, I am telling sort of two stories simultaneously as if they are one. So
Mhm.
I'm telling a personal and political account of Ras Heru in 2020, educator, poet, guy sitting here in front of you, and then also a personal life and account of Roman general and statesman Julius Caesar from 2,000 years ago. And so as you are reading the collection of poems, the idea is that fluidly you're almost not sure which world you're in because
Mhm.
I'm writing it in a way where you're in both. So that's happening throughout the entire book. With this piece specifically, it is about recognizing your true authentic self and also recognizing the power that is your true authentic self, right? Recognizing that you are, or that I am, because I'm talking about myself in this poem, I am powerful, all powerful, but nowhere near all perfect, right? And so
Yeah.
that comes with consequences, both negative and
Yeah.
positive. But ultimately, the poem really hammers the idea that I, the speaker of the poem, am a force.
Mhm.
Am a force,
Mhm.
and I am a force that, whatever life was before I arrived,
Yeah.
after my arrival, it will be different. For whatever myriad of purposes or reasons that we could talk about. Some of them, positive and pretty. Some of them not so much. But either way, the bottom line is that, and I mean, and it's kind of in the title of the poem, a
Yeah.
cautionary tale about stones, and in war, any sort of metaphorical war or even physical war, there are no winners. There are the dead,
Mhm.
right, and then the traumatized. Those of us that lived the circumstantial situation, but surviving war isn't the same thing as winning war,
When
right?
you
There are no winners. They're
yeah.
just the dead and the traumatized after what
Yeah.
has come has come.
Yeah. And I love too, I wanted to point out as well, because I'm also, you don't even really even mention one word of color, which is marvelous. But we're seeing it's just so visual
Mhm,
that
mhm,
you don't even use one word of color. But when I just take the moment and I think, especially like, it's this one part you say right over here. Here it is. I am coming storm sick of its own forecast, a lasting trauma with a talent for leaving impressions on the life you used to unknown. And especially when you say coming storm, I'm seeing just this gray, just this fog. And then you already said it, like, I'm seeing it because it's, that, like, from how you began with, the stone. We already got the idea it's solid. We got the idea it's a gray. It's not really perfect, but it's like, just really, really rugs or whichever. It's rough. And then you just keep on going. You're showing us rough and tough and things that we have no control of, a storm. And it's like the way that you just illustrate that without even using one word of saying it's gray, it's, hazy, or
right, right, right.
it gone and when you just use actual natural things as well too to incorporate these feelings, and it's just brilliant. Oh my gosh, I gotta visit your brain.
I like that. I like that. Well, I mean, that's what we write books for, right? It's my brain inside of however many pages we got here.
Yeah. Thank God for paper.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Tell me about it. Thank God for poetry and art.
Yes, poetry. I mean, because it's just so marvelous how you really illustrate and paint with your words. Just so fluid and just marvelous. I mean, seriously, my guy, I see why everybody goes nuts for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So I know time is getting a little bit closer to the wrap up of such, but I gotta ask this last question, which is so sad because I don't want to ask this last question. I don't want it to end, but definitely, please, how do you change the world with your amazing, amazing wisdom, your artistry, your passion? How do you change the world with Ras today?
That's a great question. I think I do it by virtue of remaining consistent with what I think my vocation is, right? I said earlier here that I genuinely do believe that if there was a such thing as like predetermined purpose, that I think I found mine in what I do as a creative and how I use my creativity, my platform to affect and cause change. So I would like to think that I change the world by virtue of just continuously being who it is that I am and doing what it is that I do, you know, continuing to put inspiring art out into the world, continuing to use my voice and my talents. I think that no matter what your combination of talents are, we all can find a way to lend them to something useful that is larger than us. And so I think that the way I change the world is continuing to use my talents and my abilities to create impact. You know, a key word that I've been using a lot since writing the book is the word impact, right? Which is literally the way your presence has contributed to a change in a thing, right? The way that's like literally the definition of impact, the way your presence or what you've done, the way your contribution has, that measurement of how your contribution has changed something. And so I would like to think that, be it on a one-on-one level, my artistry and who I am and my talents and my skill sets and wisdom and knowledge or whatever, you know, is able to push people out of a place of comfort, because that's typically where we actually learn. We don't learn from comfortable spaces. We learn from spaces of vulnerability. So I hope that as a person, I do that. And then, you know, for my students, obviously as a teacher, you know, I think there's a more tangible way of impacting and changing the world. And I can recall the teachers who, for me, were change makers. You know, teachers who, when I was in their classroom, they inspired me to see the world differently than the way I looked at it when I walked into their room. And I hope, and I think that some of my kids might say that I'm able to do that for them. So on that level, I think so. And I think it's okay to say, I'm not sure, I don't mean for this to sound kind of like hubris in any sort of way, but I really do believe that just by continuing to be the person I am and do the things that I do, inherently that will lead to inspiring the world or changing it to whatever extent that means, you know, just continuing to really be who I am and do the things that I do.
And I think you said it perfectly. Once again, you guys, it was the Mr. Ras Heru himself. Let's go!
Thank you. Continue, please. I know we were talking earlier before we started that you got a bit of a break or a hiatus that you're planning for, and obviously enjoy that break and vacation to do the other cool creative things you do, but also continue, if you can, you know, to do this, because it provides platform for, you know, us who are in the trenches doing the work that we do. And it means a lot to know that there's somebody who is intentional about capturing, you know, the greatness that's happening in our region.
Oh, 100%, my guy. You don't have to tell me twice. Because you know what it is that we all need that being in that earth to be intentional of what they do. You
Mhm.
know, this is only our artistry is just the beginning of a new change, a new revolution, a new story, just something new and refreshing.
Mhm.
And I admire that through you and all other people I take into this platform, because it's about not just, showcasing the amazing gifts that we all have, but taking that time and that moment to realize that we are no different from any form of our lives. We just express it and showcase it, or have it be placed a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Those are the only differences, but we all have that same story, which is we came from some type of place that we want to move forward and be moved by. And I love that we have this type of chemistry and this type of connection, because all it does is get us even more to grow and impact, once again, like you said, others, and step into the same way. And trust me, you have influenced not just your kids, not just your people who you collab with and your friends and family, but you have really inspired and impacted the world, even if the people you did not know. Because I guarantee you, one person who's probably walking their dog right now through that park, and they're like, oh, wow.
I love that. I love that. I think about that so
I
much. I think
think
about that
about
so
that.
much, and I
I
love that.
bet you do, and I bet you feel like, dang, I even not only inspired that person, but I probably inspired that darn dog too.
I tell you, I really do. I'm just, I'm fortunate, and those sorts of moments are the things that you need to keep you motivated in doing what we do.
Yes, 100. So you guys definitely come to his awesome website. Shout outs again to Mr. Rods himself.
Thank
If
you.
you ever interested, once again, it's right over here. It's spelled HERUTHERAS.com.
There
You
we
can
go.
definitely follow him on his Instagram, his Facebook, contact him, get his awesome books. Or even better, if you just wanted some fresh air to get something rejuvenated with your creativity, or probably you needed something different to listen to on your yoga, he is your guy.
Yes, yes. Put me on your yoga playlist. Say that.
So once again, I truly am so honored. I'm so grateful that we took this time in this moment and started Poetry Month the best and greatest way.
Yes,
For
yes,
real.
yes. No doubt, no doubt.
So you guys, you know what time it is. It's time to love one another, hug one another safely, virtually, and safely, greatly, or whichever way you can hug somebody today's time in 2021. That was a long sentence, but
You made it through.
I know, right? I made it through. But most importantly, we are going to paint our words together. I love that you say that. That should be your new slang right now.
What's that?
Paint your words.
Yeah. I like that. Thanks again for having me, DJ. Continue to do what you
You.
do.
All right, you guys. You guys have a safe time. I see you guys next week. Stay tuned and happy Easter, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.